Moving to the suburbs of Atlanta was honestly one of the best decisions we've made for our family. And it wasn't something that we jumped into. We made the move down here from the Boston area when our kids were pretty little, and one of the biggest things we had to figure out was whether or not we wanted to live inside the city or out in the burbs. We recently put together a video all about what it's like living in town. Check it out here. And today we're gonna flip the script. We're gonna give you a real look at what it's like living in the North Atlanta suburbs.
Yeah, and I grew up in the North Atlanta suburbs and honestly thought I had the best childhood. So much so that when it came time to raise my family, we chose to move back to the North Atlanta suburbs as well. Living in this area really gives you the ultimate lifestyle because you have Atlanta, which is just a short drive away, and then you can experience all the city life has to offer, but live where you can enjoy an amazing quality of life with a little bit less of the hustle and bustle of city life. Now, you really get the best of both worlds by living here. Some of the most popular areas in the North Atlanta suburbs for families and professionals alike are areas that Alison and I both live in, like East Cobb, Marietta, Roswell, and Johns Creek. So if you're thinking about making a move to the North Atlanta suburbs, be sure to call us, text us, or better yet, schedule an appointment using the link below. We love talking to y'all.
Okay, so one of the reasons that our family chose East Cobb was for the schools, but a lot of families moved to the North Atlanta suburb for this exact reason. So besides sites like greatschools.org and niche.com, the counties do provide a lot of information about the test scores on their websites. And I know test scores are not the only factor that families are focused on, and sometimes, most of the time, the best way to find out if it's the right fit is actually talking to locals. And I recommend that you really engage with this as part of your research. It's really, really helpful. We also have current and past clients in many of these schools that we can set up calls with. The schools around here generally do a really good job of keeping class sizes at a manageable level, which is something I know a lot of people are curious about when they're looking at public schools. Trying to figure out the student-teacher ratio is something that you might want to consider. Another part of this is the amount of kids in the school total overall. This is so helpful in the beginning steps to narrow down the process.
And that's a really good point about the class sizes though, Alison, because with new construction coming into a lot of these areas, I think it's going to be more important to be mindful of class sizes and what they're doing with school boundaries and things like that to keep these sizes small.
Yeah, we've already seen schools expanding and even some rebuilds here in the area in East Cobb, so it's been great to see things grow. The other part about the schools that I've found is teachers regularly send updates. There's an online portal where parents can check grades anytime. My kids check grades too. They're kind of obsessed with it. They have great fine arts programs, and the schools here really start identifying students early for gifted programs or IEPs if needed. Community was also important to us. Moving here from out of state is really tough, and meeting other families and making sure it felt like the right fit culturally for us was super, super important. Luckily, there's a big focus on community here, I would say in all of the school districts. You can expect things like fall festivals, art shows, cultural celebrations that really bring families together. Plus, if you're a parent who likes to get involved, there are a ton of volunteer opportunities. Again, another way to meet people in the community. The PTAs and school foundations are very active, and they do a great job raising money for extra things in the classroom, like iPads, additional art supplies, things like that.
And the foundations that the kids get in the elementary and middle school really translate to when it matters in high school. Many of the high schools in the areas are more like college preparatory schools.
Yeah.
Their academic offerings are amazing. They're competitive sports, and there's opportunities in the fine art. I have two kids that graduated from these high schools and are living their best lives, and I have one child that's still in the middle of the high school year. So kids coming out of these school systems are national merit scholars. They get into some of the country's best universities and colleges.
So one thing that may surprise you in the schools and in the culture here is the emphasis on respect, both towards the adults and between students. Most schools have a theme or some kind of acronym each year to set up the tone for expectations, which is just constantly reinforced, both of my kids tell me. And since we're in the South, you're definitely going to hear plenty of yes sir and yes ma'am. And sure, Southerners love their traditions. So one thing that I didn't know about and kind of surprised me was cotillion, which this is a big one. It usually starts around 4th or 5th grade. It's for both the boys and the girls. And it's this season of etiquette classes that ends with a formal dinner dance and where the kids can kind of show off their formal handshakes, table manners, and basic dance steps. It's really a fun way to learn social grace with friends, something I didn't experience growing up in the Midwest.
So additionally, the suburbs boast amazing recreational facilities like that Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area. It's perfect for outdoor activities like kayaking, hiking, and picnicking. The Greenway connects all the local suburbs together, and we often find ourselves exploring new areas along the Greenway. I'm not sure everyone realizes this, but the Braves play out of one of the North Atlanta suburbs in Cobb County. It's right here in the heart of North Atlanta, and we often get to see popular music artists play in the outdoor venues that are right in our backyard. You can easily make a short weekend trip to the North Georgia mountains, a long weekend trip to one of the beaches on the Atlantic Ocean like Hilton Head or Savannah, which is on the Georgia coast, as well as the Gulf side with no airfare involved. So here's a little local tip. 30A is extremely popular beach on the Florida Panhandle. The North Atlanta suburbs basically transplant to 30A during the weeks of spring break. So be prepared to see all your neighbors when you go to the beach during that time.
Yeah, and one thing we didn't mention about schools that I think might surprise you a little bit is that the schools start here August 1st and they end in mid-May. So the reason that happens is because we have more breaks than we do up north and in the Midwest. And one of those breaks is fall break, which is in September, and it's awesome. The North Atlanta suburbs that we really like and mentioned earlier are Alpharetta, Roswell, Johns Creek, and East Cobb. And really, they are booming in 2025. Alpharetta and Johns Creek are considered major tech hubs, and that's thanks to the early fiber optic investments. And areas along Georgia 400 are seeing a big growth in healthcare and tech, and that's because they provide that easy access into the city. A new bus rapid transit line is set to boost connectivity even more. These suburbs offer relatively easy access into the city, with East Cobb being one of the quickest if you're able to go some of the back roads. Gwinnett County is one of the fastest growing counties, and right now it has a focus on manufacturing, which we know is very big right now, IT, healthcare, and logistics. It's expected to become the third largest job market in the Atlanta area by 2050. Gwinnett County is also one of the most affordable markets right now to purchase in, so it's ideal for buyers who are looking to purchase a home under that $600,000 mark. All this growth is really pushing the real estate market higher, and homes prices are climbing, demand is always increasing, and new construction is everywhere.
Yeah, so another great thing about these neighborhoods is that the sense of community is strong, and it's strong across the board in all of these neighborhoods, honestly. And, you know, it has a different feel from some of the traditional Atlanta neighborhoods that we talked about in that video. You're going to see more swim tennis options. You're going to see more HOA communities than you're going to see in the Atlanta area. So that different look and feel again. One of the activities that's really big in the areas in the summer in these North Atlanta suburbs is the swim team, the youth swim team. They are widely popular, and it's almost a rite of passage to spend your June mornings going to swim team practice and your evenings at swim meets where you're swimming against your friends from other schools and other neighborhoods. It's really just a super fun thing, and it's popular here in the North Atlanta suburbs. But the question is, which neighborhood is right for you?
So when we're thinking about the suburbs and the city, walkability is going to be huge. And Alpharetta is one of those suburbs where you actually have some walkability, but there are some drawbacks of Alpharetta. So, you know, again, it has a vibrant, walkable downtown, a lot of great restaurants and shops, and again, the easy access to Atlanta down Georgia 400. Outdoor lovers are going to love the Alpha Loop, the parks, the trails, and all the different green spaces. However, living in Alpharetta is going to come with a higher cost of living, higher property taxes, and again, limited public transportation. Also, traffic is pretty rough, and they're doing a lot of new development, so that's probably not going to get much better. There are some minor crime concerns compared to some of the other suburbs like East Cobb and Johns Creek. Alpharetta is known for the Avalon, which is this large mixed-use development, meaning that it has both residential property and commercial property. There's a lot of upscale shopping, dining, and a lot of events. There's really no shortage of things to do in the North Atlanta suburbs.
Next to Alpharetta is Roswell, and it offers a lot of historic charm. It's got a quaint small town feel. It's renowned for its beautifully preserved historic district, and it features antebellum homes, historic sites like the Bullock Hall and Barrington Hall, offering a glimpse into the city's past. And so this historic charm is complemented by a variety of cultural events and festivals that take place throughout the year. And Roswell is home to a vibrant arts and entertainment community. The Roswell Cultural Arts Center hosts a range of performances, including music, theater, and dance. And I think your daughter participates in gymnastics out of there, which they have an amazing program. So I think when you look at Roswell compared to Alpharetta, it's just a little bit different vibe. I think Alpharetta is a little bit more upscale. Roswell has just some more history because Alpharetta is a little bit newer.
Yeah. So another suburb to consider is Johns Creek. Johns Creek has really highly rated schools, and I think the low crime is really what sets it apart from some of the other areas. One of the downsides compared to Alpharetta is it's not very walkable, so you're going to need a car, but to be honest, you're going to need a car in all of these suburbs. Housing prices and demand are even more challenging than you're going to find in Alpharetta. And Johns Creek is really trying to keep up with the modernization that we've seen in Alpharetta. There's a new development called Medley, which is this huge project that's going to bring in a bunch of new retail, restaurants, a hotel, apartments, and even some offices. The job market is also very strong. You've got healthcare and tech with major employers like Emory and Boston Scientific. Medley is set to bring even more jobs to the area in retail and hospitality, so I just don't think it's going to get any easier to buy a home there. And of course, the diversity. Again, this really sets it apart. There's a huge international crowd there, so it really has a great modern feel, and it's only going to get better.
Yep, that's right. Johns Creek is one of our favorites. And then let's look at Marietta, and specifically including East Cobb. So Marietta is this renowned for its historic downtown area. It's got this old charm similar to Roswell. We've got a hub of activity with its quaint shops and local cafes and restaurants. The square there, which is a traditional, what you think of as an old school town square. They have numerous festivals and events going on throughout the year. It adds to the city's vibrant community spirit, and the city's home to this rich cultural scene with venues like Marietta Museum of History, the Earl Smith Strand Theater, which does amazing productions. And then East Cobb is particularly known for its family-friendly atmosphere, featuring, these top-rated schools that we've talked about before, like Walton and Lassiter. East Cobb is one of the most affluent areas in Marietta. It offers, this mix of beautiful homes, ranging from charming older properties to new construction, mid-century moderns. The area is characterized by well-maintained neighborhoods, lush landscape, is really a great family-friendly community.
Okay, so bottom line, you're thinking about moving in town, you're thinking about moving to the suburbs. It's going to be very similar to some other metros that you're looking at. If you're looking for the city life, you're going to look in town. If you're looking for more of the community spread out feel, its schools are important, you're definitely going to want to look at the North Atlanta suburbs. So what do you think? Are you leaning more towards the city life or the suburban feel? We'd love to know which side speaks to you in your lifestyle, and we'd definitely love to help you. If you're thinking about making a move to the North Atlanta suburbs, reach out. We can help you explore that, and we can also give you some insight in town as well.